Hey guys, Muck here. Been a while since I've done an archery video, and now that indoor season's fired up, especially here in Saskatchewan, we have the Saskatchewan Indoor ASA Tour. I thought I would give you a great tip to maybe save you less 8s and more 10s and more 12s. So what I have here is I have a 2-inch circle which is representing 20 yards. What you're going to have to do, and it's going to take you a few minutes, but trust me when I say that this is going to save you in the long run. What you got to do is you got to shoot a group of 3 or 4 arrows at 20, 30, 40, and 50 yards. And then I want you to measure from the farthest to the farthest. And so if it's 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever that may be, I want you to make yourself a circle. So I'm just going to simulate. I have 20, 30, 40, and 50 yard circles, and they're 2, 3, 4, and 5-inch circles. And so if you see here, this is your typical ASA target. You got your 8 ring, your 10 ring, and your 2 12 rings. And here's the tip that's going to save you in the long run. So this is my 20-yard circle. So that roughly, this is about the size of a Vegas 10 on a target face. And for the most part, yes, I hit that almost every time. Not every time, but almost every time. So this would be about my average from here to here is 2 inches. So if I'm shooting for the lower 12, and if you see here, I put a dot in the center of the 20, that's representing where you're aiming is in the center of that. If I take the center of this dot and I put it over top of the 12 ring, do you see how if I'm holding that dot in the center of the 12, do you see how much above and below this 2-inch circle is representing where you average hit? Meaning that if you're aiming for the center of that 12, you're going to get the odd 8 that is below the 10 line. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. So the tip is, so if this is my 20-yard grouping, if I move that center, if I put my edge on the 10 line and I move the center above, so here's my center. So now I'm going to get more, I'm going to be completely inside the 10. And see, in ASA, you guys, if you're not hitting a bonus ring, you have to stay in the 10 ring. Because if you fall out and get 8s and 5s, you're not gaining ground on your competitors. So if I move this up so that I'm at the edge of the 10, my center now is about here on the 12. Yes, I'm going to get more misses in the 10 high, but I'm also 50% of my arrows are going to hit the 12. Do you see that? So now if I back up to 30, now this is a 3-inch circle, and I'm shooting for the lower 12. Here's my center. If I hold that on the center, now do you see how much now I'm almost in a jeopardy of coming down into the 5? And for sure, 50% of my arrows are below that center line, which is, remember, I'm aiming right at the middle of that 12. At least 50% of that is in jeopardy of hitting an 8 for sure. So once again, if I move that to the bottom of the 10, and here's my center, which is now about almost touching the IBO. If I do that, 100% of my arrows are in the scoring zone, and over 50% are still hitting my 12. So yes, you're going to get more 10s, but, well, I'd say about 50-50. You're going to hit your 12, and you're going to be 50% in the 10, but at least you're not in jeopardy of jumping down into the 8. But the key is, this is your aim point. So now you're aiming here. You're not aiming here. Now, there are archers out there that are watching this video that's shaking their head thinking, no, they go after every ring. I'm not one of those archers. I'm not good enough as it gets farther out to go after every ring. So I'm playing it a little bit safe, keeping in mind this is my group at 30 yards. I'm aiming right at the bottom of the 11, and I'm going to either get a 12 or I'm going to move on with 10. Okay, so now this is a 4-inch circle representing what my group would be at 40 yards. I'm aiming at the lower again, so I'm going to keep it inside the 10. And now you can see this is what my group is going to look like. Sometimes I'm going to hit here, even though I'm going for the lower 12. I'm going to hit here, here, here. But the key is I'm inside the 10, and now that center is almost in the middle of the IBO. And once again, there's shooters out there that shake their head that they're saying they're shooting for the lower. That's fine if you're that good of a shot. But if I move this down into the center of the 12, I'm definitely at the bottom where the 5 line is, and at least over 50% of my arrows, keeping in mind this is my average group, 50% of my arrows are going to be out of the scoring zone. Okay, so I'm going to keep it inside the 10 ring. That is my aim point. Yes, I'm going to get lots of 10s because I'm going to be up in here, 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 but you're still going to be hitting the 12 on occasion. Now, 5-inch circle, that's what the size of the 10 ring is. At 50 yards, this is my 50 yard. If I take that center and I put it the lower 12, I'm definitely outside the 5 here, and I would say less than 50% of my arrows are going to be in the scoring zone. So that means probably 60% of my arrows are going to be 8s or 5s. But if I take this and I move inside the ring, keep in mind my 12 rings right there, I'm aiming just dead center. Sometimes I'm going to hit up here, sometimes I'm going to hit here. But the key is to stay in the 10. So for those of you that are struggling with getting lots of 8s, you might be getting lots of bonus rings, but if you're getting lots of 8s, keep in mind if you move your aiming spot with that circle in always there, you're going to be safe and you're going to catch more rings. And really, unless you're a pro at 50 yards, you want to just get in that 10 and move on. So I hope this helps. I know it does for me. Yeah, just move that aiming spot up. You might catch a little less 12s, but you're always going to be in the 10s. I hope that helps. Talk to you soon.